Now, on today's video, I'm going to try to show how I restore the exhaust systems on some of the bikes in my collection that have needed extensive restoration. This one in particular is the GS 1100E, a 1982 bike, 41-year-old parts. They were good and rusted when I got them. I bought a whole parts bike. Basically, one of the things I wanted was the wheels and the exhaust, and I bought the whole bike. And it has served me well. But a lot of the parts from that parts bike have really been rusted. It was not in really good condition when I got it. And so I wanted to show on this video how you specifically can do, and you could do it to any motorcycle exhaust system, and separate the parts that are visible and not visible, the parts that are polished in chrome, and the parts that aren't. It's tricky. Now for this bike, I have three separate exhaust systems. The one that's on the bike right now is from an 86 GS. That fits if you make a special bracket for the back. I've shown that on other videos. This one is going to detail how to clean up the rust and using some header paint. Now I got some header paint, which is exactly the same as you would use on a hot rod car to paint the headers. It's a high temperature paint. It's gray. We're going to try to use that to do some of the spots that will be prone to rust again. Now, if I just put that back on the bike the way it is, yes, you don't see that part. You don't see in the back. But what happens is that's going to keep rusting until it comes through the other side. And if anybody had ever restored an old 55 Chevy, you know what the rocker panels look like. Well, these are the rocker panels of the motorcycle. So even though they're chrome plated, and one side is nice, the back it's going to rust from the inside out. And I wanted to preserve it. And every part I've taken off the bike, all of the brackets, all of the bolts, all of the clamps. And I've done this part on a separate video, the head pipe. But anything that has rust on it, I want to clean the rust off. And if it's not a visible part, I want to touch it up like the factory did with header paint. Now the first part in working on this is what I call selective polishing. I look the parts over carefully and see what part of the part am I going to see. It's going to be visible when you stand by the motorcycle and look at it. Now, because these parts are irreplaceable, and anybody that has a GS knows, you go to buy an exhaust system, yeah, you can buy replacement this and aftermarket that, but to get a real GS exhaust system, it's very difficult. And if you want to keep the bike stock, of course, there's a price to be paid. If you can find one in great condition, I'm guessing it would be a really expensive thing. If you find them in this condition, well, maybe the price is reasonable, but then you've got to do a couple days or more of work. So you want to be sure, and this is the hard part to get across to people. The really difficult part of this is look at this part while it's still on the bike and make a note of what parts you see and what parts you don't see. Now that part that's shiny right there, you're going to see that. You don't want to put a wire wheel on that. For all the money in the world, you'll never get the scratches out. You want to use either polish, chrome polish, Meguiar's polish, mag wheel polish, but absolutely, absolutely no wire wheel scratches on chrome. Well, you'll really never get them out. So decide what needs to be polished. Now the most obvious choice here is an ordinary soft wire wheel, but that's not the only choice. If you go to Harbor Freight, they make, I don't know what the correct name is, but it looks like a brush. They make orange and blue. Sometimes they make even a third one. One is rough, one is smooth, and you've got to look at this part now. That part that's rusty in the back of the pipe, you don't see that when it's on the motorcycle. So I want to take that off by hand. I don't want to use anything that's going to tend to scratch that chrome. Because believe it or not, the funny part about this whole thing, where you see it, it's still in pretty decent shape. But it's the part that you don't see that's underneath here, and you can see that crack is going to come up as soon as I pull that rust off. And parts, rust is a funny thing. Once it gets a hold, it just keeps going forever. It's like a rotten tooth. It never fixes itself. It never goes away until you get rid of it. Now, I know there's other ways to get rid of rust, chemically, and there's naval jelly, and there's all kinds of things. But in the case, to get down in those nooks and crannies and get down where that crack is, There's almost no way that's as efficient as just taking an electric drill or some kind of a Dremel tool and the abrasive wheels that you can use to get down there, because to do this right, you've got to get down into a lot of nooks and crannies and valleys. But once you practice and you're comfortable doing it, the hard part is over. Now, there's a couple of golden rules you can use to your advantage. I would always practice, no matter what abrasive wheel you're going to use, on the parts that you're not going to see. Again, defining what those parts are and knowing where you don't want to get scratches. But you can see these abrasive wheels that come from Harbor Freight, the blue one or the orange one, or in fact the soft wire wheel or the hard wire wheel. What happens on an electric drill, the material, the rust seems to come off pretty easily. Now, a lot of it is just elbow grease and just time you have to spend, but I would always want to do, again, the least likely part you're going to see in case you don't get the finish that you want. Now, these wheels do leave a relatively nice surface on the steel, but they're not a chrome surface. So from far away, it might be acceptable, but like on the back of the header pipes where they come out of the engine, I never noticed that you can't see that. You need a mirror to go see that. But Suzuki knew that, and they didn't polish that part. So Suzuki's a little bit smarter, I guess, than I am. But again, you can do this and practice with the orange wheel, the blue wheel. One is a little more aggressive than the other, but you never know what kind of finish it's going to leave until you do a part. Now, this is the bottom where you don't really see it, but the objective here, the big objective, is to get rid of all the rust. I don't want the rust on there more than anything, because the rust will tend to, over time, just rot its way right through, and then I've got to take it back off the bike and either get it brazed or welded or something. And that's a real big job. So whatever time I spend here, I'm really investing that time in something that I think is really worthwhile. The other thing too is, and again, you can't go buy these new from Partzilla. It's not happening. They don't have them. So you go out on eBay, and yeah, there's one for sale for this amount or that amount. And then when you get it, it's rusted worse than the one you have. I've fallen for that trick many times, and so have most of my friends. That I have found it's way more efficient, if I already have the part, to restore it, to bring it back to life as best I can, and then once you bring it back to life, to keep it. The whole idea here is, once this is done, don't go and store it in a in a rusty place where it's going to get rusty again. In my case, my spare exhaust, and I have two spare exhausts, I have them in the cellar of my house that's heated, right under a heating vent, and with a good coat of Flitz or WD-40 on them, so that they don't rust again. Because who knows, in the future I might want to swap this out. This is a stock 82 exhaust, and it's a hard, impossible thing to find anywhere. Now, I'm prone to work on one part until I get one part the way I want it, and I want to use the hand tool. This is a drill, and of course I want to be selective about where I polish with chrome polish. This is a soft brass wheel that I can use to get some of, but not all of, and I'm avoiding the chrome parts very carefully, the parts that I'm going to see. Again, if you had the ability to get these parts re-chromed, it'd be a significant amount of money. A lot of times, and in our area of the country, getting something chromed can be impossible or so expensive that nobody would dare do it. And other people I've seen that have done the polishing thing and restoration like I've done, they come out being 90%, maybe 95% just as good. Now, this is a part I was alluding to earlier in the video. Once you get all that rust off, you can see two things. There's a strip bolt in there that has to come off, and an easy out will take that out. And the other thing is, all of my Harbor Freight, you can see I have a whole bucket full of different wheels that I've been practicing and polishing. And each one of them will do some part, like getting in there. This one's nice and thin. The wire ones, they make hard, soft, wide. And what happens is you wind up spending probably a lot less money on tools to do this job correctly than if you were to just go buy another part, try to buy one anyway. the tools, and then what happens at the end of it, you still have the tools. That's what I like about it. And I was convinced that in this case, because I have two GSs, they're both the same, and I wanted to have the choice of putting my 86 exhaust on or the stock one. And the reason I like the 86 exhaust, which I've already restored like this on another video, the thing that's nice about it, the 86 is a little louder, just a little rumblier, but not like an aftermarket 4-to-1. And then if I want to have the totally stock, this one is totally stock. And I want to have the choice of both of them, again, because I have two of the bikes, and at some point in time, I do change the bodywork from the blue bodywork to the tan bodywork. I want to be able to change the exhaust system. It's all part of my infatuation with having bikes evil twins, that I can change parts and maintain them, that they look stock from far away. But when you look at them close, yeah, there's a lot of polished parts and there's a lot of restored parts, some custom parts. But basically, that's the whole beauty of having an evil twin. And when you can do it with parts you already have. So as I go back and forth from using the various wire wheels and back and forth, the parts that are chrome, the parts that are visible, invisible, it's a labor of love, and it's a lot of back and forth. But what happens, and I put this in fast forward so just the video would not get too long, those clamps don't come off on a GS, on this year GS. So I had to polish them while they were in place. I usually use a table that's got several layers of towels or soft rags to avoid scratching. And then back and forth, and they do make compounds specifically for chrome. Harbor Freight sells it. And if you do have a buffing wheel, boy, you can get that to really come up like a mirror. But keep in mind that it's just a labor of love, and if you know the techniques and you know where to use the wire wheel and where to use the buffing wheel, in the end, you've salvaged a part that and this is so easy to do when it's not on a motorcycle. When it's on a motorcycle, oh boy, is it a lot harder. You've really brought something back. So I hope there was some useful information on this video that you could use on your project. All of the exhaust systems I've ever worked on, pretty much the same. They rust and rot out on the bottom. The chrome is usually half decent on the top, most of them anyway. And the trick that Suzuki uses of only polishing the part you see, boy, it must save them a lot of money, because when you go to redo this or repolish it, you realize how much work it is. Anyway, again, I hope you found the video useful and enjoyed it. And thanks so much for watching.